Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be turning this sitting down cat into a green alien cat. This is part of my rainbow base challenge. So all the materials are here. I've got epoxy sculpt, wire, pliers, my design in the background there, and some gloves, as well as this tool which I'm not actually sure what it is used for, and a pencil to draw the lines. And I'm mimicking this because I did it off camera by accident. So this is quite straightforward. I'm just trying to line them up so that they're even, I guess, and then I stab into their head with the tool and then push the wire in, so that was a bit loud, so that it stays, and then I give it a bend so that it's got more security inside the head, and then I just cut the wire. It took me a while to guess to figure out how much wire I actually wanted, and then I do the same on the other side, and it is as easy as that. Then you're going to take the gloves for the epoxy sculpt because it is toxic to your fingers, I think. I can't remember. Please don't use this if you're not of the appropriate age, as well as watch this video because there are knives and other utensils which can be sharp. And if you are, please have adult supervision. You have been warned. I'm just mixing the epoxy sculpt because, I'm following the directions, and I would recommend you follow directions for things as well because they're really helpful. And now I'm just making the antennae type horn things that are on top of the cat's head, and I used the wire as a base because I thought the epoxy wouldn't stick to it very well on its own. It's really good for sculpting on plastic, wood and metal because through the chemical reaction, which is why you mix it, it becomes solid. And yeah, it's really cool. A lot of other customizers use it in the doll community, and I thought it'd be a good thing to use in the LPS community. So that's me adding more, and I smooth down and go back and forth quite a lot throughout this video, so I am quite sorry. And then, yeah. I also add ear tufts, which I use my fingers to smooth down as well as the tool. Next I'm going to be making the cheek fluffs because it was in my concept, so stick around to the very end to see that. I use my nail as well as the tool to shape, smooth, and figure out what I'm doing, because I'm kind of winging this. I've never done anything like this before. I've never sculpted fur before. I was quite nervous. Anything you see me do on one side, I also do to the other side. So yes, because I don't think you guys would enjoy watching the same thing over and over and over again. I also added more epoxy because I thought that the cheek fluffs were just not fluffy enough, so there we go, I'm adding more. Enjoy! I am now adding more to the back of the head because I wasn't happy with how it always falls over, and especially since I was doing some delicate work with the cheek fluffs, I thought it would just be much better to try balance it out, but that's not really how balancing works. Anyway, here's me cutting off the tail because I wasn't happy with the way it looked, and now I'm carving it away. Please have adult supervision if you are under 13. Oh, now I'm making space for the new tail, so I just stab it in the butt with this thingy, and I add in the other thingy, which is known as wire, because for some reason words are escaping me, and then I chop it, and then I stick it in, and then I kind of fiddle with it a bit to get it to the space I want it. Oh, and now I'm adding more epoxy. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? This is so chaotic. Okay, right, now, adding clay to the, not the tail, but the booty, because I wanted it to be more even because I chopped away some of it. And then I do add some to the tail, as I'm doing now, and I build it up and up and up until I am happy. I also add some more support, well, like more clay to the base of the horns thingies, because as I was lifting up, I accidentally almost pulled one out, so I thought I would just make it more stable. I also add more fluff to the tail using the epoxy, and I use my nail and this tool to do that. It's not as good as the cheek fluffs. I don't know what I did differently, or like how it turned out so different, or enjoy me not managing to stick this down. It like took forever. But yeah, so I wasn't too pleased with how the tail ended, but since it was like my third time sculpting fluff, I did a good job. Oh, I also had more to the head because I had some leftover clay, and it was still falling over. Here is the finished sculpting phase done. I think I did quite a good job for my first time. Oh, I also sanded it, but I didn't show you that because I forgot. And now onto painting. I do a couple different coats of white gesso as a base, and I do everywhere, try and get into every nook and cranny, and it's so nice to see the epoxy blend into the plastic, but this is also the point where you can see how bad my sanding job was, so that needs to be better in the future. And on to painting the colour. I use green, yellow, mixing white and a titanium white, which are two different things, and if you want I can explain it in a separate video, but not now. I also use brushes of different thicknesses to paint details and large areas, and I am custom mixing my green. I kind of just went at it and hoped I had the right colour. I did play around with it a little bit. I also made some lighter versions because I wanted the tummy of this thing to be lighter, and then I start painting. It's difficult to tell, but this at the moment I'm painting is a lighter green to the tummy and the tail and the underside and under the chin, and I also start cleaning up once that dried. I did leave time in between all layers of paint for it to dry, but I wasn't happy with how patchy the first layer of the green looked, so I went over it a couple times. I also added dark green to the ears, and now I'm starting with yellow. I don't stay with yellow for a very long time because I found it quite difficult to visualize what I was doing, even though I was kind of following a guide. And yes, it does look very angry at the moment, and it does stay like this for quite a while, so you'll have to just laugh at it. I also add dark green because that's the colour I wanted to use, and I found this a lot easier, and I go around the eyes and I add to the cheek fluffs. And I just keep going until I'm happy with it. So it does look very messy, but I do clean it up very soon, and I do this a lot. Here it is, me starting to paint the back of the head. I was quite nervous, but you know, keep going, have a go at it, and it turned out quite good. I had bigger lines and smaller lines. I also add some to the tail, and then I start cleaning up with the lighter green, which you'll see in just a second. Now that that's been cleaned up, I also go on to adding Zava green, which you've just seen, and then the lighter green. I clean up my lines and add some to the inside of the ears, which was bugging me until now, but you probably can't tell, and you will see it in just a second. I also remove a stripe from the back of the head completely because I thought it was overly cluttered, and I also needed more space to add the other colours, which will be happening in a little while. So now I'm going in with the dark green again because for some reason I just couldn't get perfect lines, and that's okay. So I do this a lot, and now I'm adding the stripes to the body, and I do that and I try to keep them the same, but it ended up being a lot thinner, and I guess that's because it was working on a smaller size and it was difficult to get into some of the places, and I was kind of annoyed at myself because I was like, oh, this is so difficult, and it also wasn't at the same time. I add them to the stripes to the legs, and also create a transition line from which you've just seen, because I was struggling to figure out how the lines on the legs would also be part of the lines on the body. Also add cheek stripes, and then I'm cleaning up with the lighter green paint. Oh my goodness, this is very chaotic. If you guys are watching, I'll be quite surprised that you're still following along. And now I'm adding stuff to the tummy because that was looking quite barren and I wanted it to be more cohesive. And now I'm going in with yellow and adding more colour to the cheeks and stripes, and to the eyebrows, which I managed to fix thankfully, and spots on the back of the head, and then I go in with the other stripes. And I do realise how much my brush is making a mess. I do change it in a while, but I just forgot that I could change my brush and was like, it's okay, I'll clean it up, which I do because it's paint and you can always paint over things. And then I add to the body and I go back over my lines, but you don't see that because it's boring, because some of the paint is quite thin, so I just have to do a couple coats, and yeah. Now I'm adding a lighter green. This is the same colour I used on the tummy. I just fill in the spots and areas where I thought it needed it, because it was either a little bare or a little too one or other colour. And I do this with the rest of the body. I also neatened up some of the lines on the tail, but you don't see that. Now I'm going over the eyes with a white, and I don't do the other one, but I promise you it does get done. I also paint the tongue, the nose, and the paw pads. I ended up working on this off camera while doing the LPS official podcast, so I just wanted to update you on what it looked like. And now I'm going in with a pink, and I paint the eyes, as well as the tongue, the nose, and the paw pads. I ended up doing a couple different coats because the paint was a little thin compared to the white, and yeah. I don't know why it's showing that the nose and the tongue and the paws were green for some reason. Not even green, they were like grey. I think it was just struggling with the colours. But now I'm adding the stars to the eyes, and I use this really tiny dotting tool and just go back and forth with yellow and the pink, which for some reason I don't show you, but you know. And now it's time to varnish. This is one of the last steps, and I do a couple different coats, as well as extra on the extruding bits like the ears, the antennae things, and some on the tail and the paw pads, which you don't see. And then the last step, which you will see in just a second, is to use a high gloss varnish, which goes on the eyes, the nose, and the tongue, and then it's done. Thanks for watching. Here is the finished cat. I don't really know why the colours were weird, but you know, it still looks good and I'm very happy with it. Bye!